Okay, how'd it go, Atlanta, man?
Went pretty good for about a lap and a quarter. I mean, we got in a race, of course. You know, we owned got a charter and we was in, and neither one of the 42 or 43 qualified good, and the engineers, they were pretty optimistic on doing good, you know, and they throwed the green flag, and it's one of them tracks where you bunch up, and somebody, I don't even know who started it, Richard. I think somebody checked up and somebody didn't, and it just it ended a lot of days, for us, for sure.
Well, there was a bunch of other cars that got where they was able to get back on the track, but they couldn't run.
Yeah, well, that's what happened to the 42,
but
43 for sure.
So I didn't have to spend a lot of time watching them because they wasn't going nowhere.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I really watched the race probably more so than I usually do, and they ran that race, and it started off like a Daytona deal. Everybody sort of stayed in line, and then as the tires went away, some of the cars were handling better than others, and they'd pass each other down in the corner, and then the other guy would pass him down the straightaway. So it was kind of like Daytona, but this was racing. These guys was racing each other. And one guy could pull out and pass somebody, where at Daytona, when somebody pulls out, they got to have somebody behind them.
With them, yeah.
Here they didn't need any help.
Yeah.
They get a running start. And from the time they towed the flag till the race was over, them guys was racing like it was the last dead gum lap.
Well, the green flag was like the last lap, and it was for our cars,
But still, you had guys running fifth or sixth, and the race wasn't even half over, and they're trying to get to the front. What difference does it make? But you got a long way to go.
But the track, they should have had practice, I think. I'm not criticizing nobody for doing what, but it was such a guess on all the cars, and even when, like you're talking, they were running that bunch, but you could see some cars they was a little bit out of control, Richard, and you just kind of held your breath for the ones that were still in the pack, that there's going to be a wreck.
But if you'll notice, I don't think there was maybe one wreck that they crashed in the corner. They crashed down the straightaway because they run in, they get a big draft, and somebody tries to pull over.
If they ever let off, you're out of business.
It's like the 22 car there. There wasn't no hole there, but he tried to make one.
Well, I believe on the front stretch, the 8 car got the
11 car.
To start finish line, and but I think at the start of the race, Richard, it wasn't like Daytona or like Talladega would be. If they had a plan to pit together, that went out the window.
This was a completely individual race.
Yep.
Everybody was on their own schedule, and to me that makes it so much better racing.
It's the only track that we see that if you enter the pit to the exit of the pit, it's probably 3/4 of the track, you know what I mean? And that's a long time.
Oh, yeah.
But part of the pit road is 90 mile an hour, then the other part's 60 mile an hour.
45. Yeah.
Is it 45? I don't know.
Anyhow,
Okay.
and some of them guys, they'd come off the track, they'd get down to 60, but then they didn't get down to 45. And, I mean, I was looking at the rundown and stuff, and there must have been 50 cars that made mistakes on pit road or somewhere and got penalized. Most I've ever seen, just because the circumstances the way they were.
Yeah, I don't know, but that pit road is, I guess they had to do it that way. I guess it's unique.
What happened, they kept running into each other coming off of 4.
Yeah, you couldn't get off 4 to get into pit road and get down.
So anyhow, it really messed things up.
But
because you made a pit stop, you was automatically a lap and a half behind just going down pit road.
But they might have been 4 or 5 cars that didn't have to work on their cars, and the pit crews, they didn't get to show their stuff. You know what I mean? And the 22 pitted by himself. Then he later on wrecked himself. But he run some people down, and then there was some cars up there that normally wasn't up front.
I really didn't see a dominant car. The 38 car was probably as good as anybody. He got shuffled around because he led more laps than anybody. But it was just it wasn't necessarily who got in front, because third and fourth place was changing positions all the time.
If it had been another lap, which it wasn't, it could have been. Those three might not have been in.
It would have been pretty interesting. Them all trying to get in the first turn wide open.
But okay, they're going west this week. They're going to Vegas, and maybe can figure out kind of who's got the best car, the best team, and the best strategy right now.
Yeah.
But everything was more confusing to me than Daytona was yesterday.
But to me, it made it more interesting.
Well, it was interesting, no question about it. And of course, I got it taped. I hadn't watched it, but I'd seen the finish on ESPN this morning, so it was interesting enough for them to cover it. And if they didn't have all this electronic stuff, we wouldn't. You could still be arguing over who won the race.
You're right. But it was kind of a deal that, can you believe they run a race that long, 260 laps, and three cars were in that much of each other?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's just unreal. But it makes it interesting for the spectators. And that's what it's all about when it comes down to it.
We drove down. We left with about 40 laps to go, but there's already people leaving, but there was a pretty decent crowd for Atlanta, Richard. They got a lot of seats there, but there was a pretty good crowd.
Well, I think from the people that stayed and watched the race, people on TV, I don't think it could have been more interesting for the way it finished.
Well, we was listening to it on radio, and the announcers called the 12 car the winner.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
And they said, from our angle, but I seen it this morning too. But we're not going to Vegas, so I wouldn't have enough money for the slots, and Mary wouldn't give me no money, so we'll be watching on television.
We'll stay home, save money. But like you said, this is Vegas is going to be the first chance that all the new cars, new drivers, new everything really gets to a racetrack. The other two tracks are more wide open racetrack, so a lot of times you can't tell who's got the best car, best handling car. So it's going to be interesting, just to see if with our new association with Toyota, if it's going to be any better than where we was last year.
3 or 4 weeks ago, that's what Dave told us, our crew chief. I said, how are we going to be this year? He said, I'll let you know after Vegas. So that answers your question there.
So we're going to stay here and watch it and hope they get their stuff together. I don't know. Yeah, I know one year I won 5 races, and all 5 races was less than a half a second. That's how close those old 5 races were. So, and I don't even remember which one they were, but I've had some close ones, and I guess I've lost some close ones too, but I've won some pretty close ones.
Well, your 200th win would have been close, Richard, but it was on the white flag with Cale. It was a.
Well, it was pretty close. It was a couple of feet. Okay, yeah. That's a long way compared to.
Of course, when you and Pearson wrecked coming to the checker there, and you had him beat till your car wouldn't start, about 100 yards back. But we was at Spartanburg that night when Billy Wade was mad at Ned Jarrett, and we was racing Ned, and I kindly called you back because I know they was going to wreck, and getting down towards the end of the race, I had to turn you loose, and you went up there, and when he wrecked him, you went up over. You said Ned's car. I think he went up over Billy Wade's car because we seen. Okay, you're wrong.
I was closer to it than you was. I could see.
But we had maroon and black on the drive shaft, and Ned's car was blue. So I don't know.
It would have been hard to have a finish the way it was yesterday if they hadn't reconfigured the racetrack, because it just had 2 straightaways and it didn't have that dog leg. The track, you got to figure the track had just been repaved, three races ago or something. So the cars could run, they could run low, they could run the middle, they could run high. And the old track, there was either a low groove or a high groove. So when they made the track from a mile to mile and a half, it really made, to me, a better racetrack.
The old configuration, when you come down the front stretch, it was real narrow, and we got in a wreck on the front stretch on your last race in '92. You know, there just wasn't no place to go, but of course, didn't look like it'd be much place to go yesterday. But I don't question that, because ain't nothing you can do about it. I'm gonna throw one thing in. I wish we had practice everywhere we go. I ain't questioning nobody, but I like practice.
It's definitely going to be a learning curve. I feel like that everybody's worked together. They've got experience with these cars. They're letting us have that experience. With Toyota has been really good to work with as far as letting us know what everybody else knows. And even though it's new to us, we're getting a lot of the same information that everybody else has got. And we're getting the same information. The only other thing is the other people have been working with that information. So we're going to have to learn how to take it and draft it into our system. So it's going to be really interesting just to see if we can learn fast enough to be competitive right out of the box.
Yeah, I think Richard hit right on it. It's a learning curve. But, okay, like Daytona and Talladega and Atlanta, qualifying really wasn't that important, but coming up on some of these other races, qualifying stands out more. And I wish, and I know our teams are going to focus more on it, but we need to qualify a little bit better everywhere we go, and on pit selection and starting position, and it just makes a difference on these races coming up.